Do you love the thrill of politics or the challenge of strategy? Maybe you've dreamed of building an empire, making global decisions, or just figuring out how power works. Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into some of the best political and strategy games you can play right now. Let's start with Lawgivers 2. This game is all about climbing the political ladder. You begin as a political activist or member of parliament, and your goal is to win elections, pass bills, and outsmart your rivals. It's a game of influence, strategy, and staying one step ahead. But here's the thing. Lawgivers 2 isn't exactly beginner-friendly. It assumes you already know a bit about politics and strategy. If you're up for the challenge, it's a fantastic way to see how tricky and rewarding politics can be. Next, we have Memoriapolis, a beautiful city-building game with a historical twist. You guide your city through 2,500 years of history, from ancient times to the Middle Ages. Along the way, you'll deal with resource management, historical events, and even build wonders. The game's graphics are stunning, and the soundtrack is lovely. But since it's still in early access, there are a few quirks, like not being able to move buildings and some clunky faction systems. That said, the lack of road planning is a surprisingly nice touch, making things feel fresh. For something totally different, let's talk about Fantasy Map Simulator. This game isn't about conquest, it's about creation. You design your own fantasy world and watch as centuries of history unfold before your eyes. The game lets you be hands-off if you want. You can either shape the world like a god or sit back and watch nations rise and fall. And with its gorgeous map visuals, it even works as a stunning live wallpaper while you're working. It's still in early access, but if you love world building and have ever wondered, what would this world look like after 1,000 years? This one's for you. Then there's Imperator, Rome, a grand strategy game from the creators of Crusader Kings and Europa Universalis. It takes you to the classical Mediterranean, where you manage armies, populations, and diplomacy during Rome's rise. Now, here's where it stumbles. The game leans heavily on military conquest, leaving its political systems feeling a bit shallow. And the mana system oversimplifies big decisions. But if you're into ancient history and enjoy the thrill of expanding your empire, it's worth a look, especially with the updates that have improved it since launch. Ever wanted to take over the world, not with armies, but with money? That's what Trade Conquest is all about. You start as a smart investor and work your way up by controlling resources, manipulating markets, and even influencing elections or starting wars. The game is packed with dynamic events, and every playthrough feels different. The economic systems are super detailed, but the military and diplomacy elements hold their own too. Next, let's talk about King's Orders, a game that puts you in the shoes of a medieval ruler. Here's the twist. All your commands are sent through messengers, and they might not always make it. That means every decision feels weighty because you're not always sure your orders will get through. You'll be managing armies, resources, and cities while reliving key moments in history like the 100 Years' War. It's a game about strategy, patience, and adapting to the unexpected. A perfect pick if you want something immersive and unique. If you prefer storytelling with your strategy, you'll love Suzerain. In this game, you play as President Anton Rain, leading the fictional country of Swordland through a series of crises. Every decision you make changes the story and determines the future of your nation. With multiple endings and tons of subplots, it's all about balancing your values, your people's needs, and your personal vision for the country. Do you play it safe or take risks? Whatever you choose, it's a gripping experience that feels personal and real. Finally, we have Crusader Kings 3, the ultimate medieval political game. It's not just about running a kingdom, it's about building a legacy. You'll make alliances, deal with family drama, and ensure your dynasty survives across generations. The coolest part? Your ruler isn't invincible. They can die from sickness, accidents, or even assassination. That means raising the right heir is just as important as running your empire. So, there you have it. Some of the best political and strategy games out there. Which game are you most excited to try? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more strategy content.